I get it when you're prepping for a weekend of towing a glider or a small private plane. The last thing you want is a receiver that looks good on paper but turns into a nightmare on the tarmac. You've probably already spent a few minutes scrolling through specs, wondering if the 7,500 pounds rating actually matters for your aircraft or if that aluminum construction will hold up after a few seasons of rain, mud, and runway debris. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Blue Ox BX4370 Ascent Tow Bar 2-inch receiver Class 3 tries to answer those exact doubts. It's marketed as a Class 3 receiver, which in aviation lingo means it can handle the heavier, higher-speed tow rigs you see on most single-engine pistons and light twins. The aluminum body is stamped from aircraft-grade material, a claim that sounds impressive until you picture the real-world environment, a dusty hangar floor, occasional gusts that toss sand into the mechanism, and the need to hook up quickly when the crew is already waiting. First off, the easy hookup promise is more than just a marketing line. The receiver uses a 2-inch universal fitting that slides onto the standard tow bar pin, and the locking lever clicks into place with a single motion. In practice, that means you can walk up to the aircraft, align the bar, give it a firm push, and you're locked, no fiddly bolts or wrenches. I've seen a handful of owners on forums note that this speed cuts down turnaround time at busy airfields, where every minute saved translates into more flight time. The downside? Because the lock relies on a spring-loaded lever, you need to keep the mechanism clean. Any grit that sneaks in can make the click feel sluggish, so a quick wipe after a dusty tow is advisable. Storage is another spot where the BX4370 tries to win points. The receiver folds inward on its own hinge, collapsing into a slim profile that tucks neatly against the aircraft fuselage or into a dedicated locker. If you're the type who parks the plane in a cramped hangar and hates having a bulky metal bar jutting out, you'll appreciate that it won't take up more than a few inches of space. The trade-off is the hinge itself. While the aluminum is strong, the hinge pin can feel a little loose after repeated folding and unfolding, so you might want to tighten it periodically with a small screwdriver. It's a minor maintenance step, but one that keeps the bar from wobbling when you're pulling a heavy tow. Now let's talk about the prevents debris claim. The receiver's interior features a recessed slot that shields the pin from sand, gravel, and small stones that can otherwise jam the connection. In real life, this design has a tangible benefit. After a hot summer day on a desert strip, the bar still slides smoothly without the need for a thorough cleaning. However, the protection isn't absolute. Large rocks can still lodge at the outer edge of the slot, and if you're operating from a particularly rough field, you'll still want to give the bar a quick visual inspection before each use. One of the most subtle but valuable aspects is the smooth ride promise. Because the receiver is made from aircraft-grade aluminum, it's both lightweight and rigid. That rigidity translates into less flex when you're pulling a heavier aircraft, which means the tow line stays more consistent and the pilot feels a steadier pull. For pilots who are sensitive to tug variations, especially when training students, this steadiness can make the difference between a calm takeoff and an uneasy start. The only real weakness here is that the lighter weight can make the bar feel a bit flimsy compared to a steel counterpart. It's not a structural issue, but it does give a different tactile impression that some users might misinterpret as a lack of durability. Who should really consider the BX4370? If you own a single-engine piston, a light twin, or even a glider that regularly requires tow work, and you value a quick, hassle-free hookup, this receiver is a solid match. It shines for flight schools that churn out multiple tows per day, because the time saved on each connection adds up. It's also a good fit for owners who store their aircraft in tight hangars and need that fold-away convenience. On the flip side, if you're dealing with a heavier turboprop or a vintage warbird that exceeds the 7,500 pounds limit, you'll want to look elsewhere. Likewise, if you operate exclusively from pristine, paved runways where debris isn't a concern, the extra debris guard feature may feel like paying for something you never truly need. And if you